Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. This will be my last video this year. And since we're getting ready for New Year's Eve, I thought I'd make myself some really sparkly earrings for the party. You know the type. Colorful, long, flirty kind of earrings. And I thought you might find it interesting, so I made this tutorial for you. Start by stringing this unit 3 times. 1 piece of fire polish, 1 piece of bicone, 1 piece of fire polish, and 1 piece of SuperDuo. I always check the second hole of the SuperDuo before I string it. Put a double knot to make a circle with the beads. Leave a tail that is comfortable for you. This is your base row. Step up in the second hole of a SuperDuo. String 1 seed bead and go through the second hole of the next SuperDuo. Repeat around. Go through the beads again to reinforce this row. Step out from a seed bead. String 1 piece of bicone and go through the bicone from the base row. String 1 piece of bicone and go through the seed bead again and lead your thread to the next seed bead. Repeat the step around. Lead your thread to the base row. Step out from a fire-polished bead before the SuperDuo. String 3 pieces of seed beads and go through the next fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit. Repeat the step around. The first triangle is finished. To start the second triangle, step out from the fire-polished bead before the seed bead corner. String the starting unit starting with a SuperDuo, but you need only 2 units of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit because one side will be the shared side with the first triangle. You will string 3 pieces of SuperDuo and 2 units of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit alternately. Go through the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit from the first triangle to finish the second triangle base row. Lead your thread to a SuperDuo and step up in the second hole of it. String the seed beads between the second hole of the SuperDuos. Reinforce this row. String the bicones between the seed beads and the bicones from the base row. Lead your thread to the base row. You have only one row to finish this triangle. You need to string the corner beads. You need the 3 seed beads on the corners, but you have the first triangle's corner beads already. So you string only 2 pieces of seed beads for this corner and share 1 bead from the other triangle's corner. Lead your thread to the next corner. To string the next corner, first go through the first seed bead from the other triangle's corner, then string 2 pieces of seed beads and lead your thread to the last corner. In this last corner you don't have any other corner beads to share, so you need to string 3 pieces of seed beads. The second triangle is finished. Choose a side to make the third triangle. String 3 pieces of SuperDuo and 2 units of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit alternately. Go through the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit from the other triangle to finish the third triangle base row. Lead your thread to a SuperDuo and step up in the second hole of it. String the seed beads between the second hole of the SuperDuos. Reinforce this row. String the bicones between the seed beads and the bicones from the base row. Lead your thread to the base row and string the corner beads. Be aware that you have two corners where you need to use the other triangle's corner bead. The third triangle is finished. You need one more triangle to finish the half of the ball. You need to lead your thread to that specific side of your triangle to be able to start your fourth triangle. I will go through the middle of my triangle to reach that side, but you can go around or wherever you can. For the fourth triangle, you have two sides already from the other triangles. So you need to string only one unit of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit, but you will need 3 pieces of SuperDuo because the SuperDuos are not shared. String 1 piece of SuperDuo, 1 unit of fire-polished bicone fire-polished, and 1 piece of SuperDuo. Go through the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit from the first triangle. Then string 1 piece of SuperDuo and go through the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit from the third triangle. This way you will have the base row of your fourth triangle. Lead your thread to a SuperDuo and step up in the second hole of it. String the seed beads between the second hole of the SuperDuos. Reinforce this row. String the bicones between the seed beads and the bicones from the base row. Now that we have some time, I'll take the opportunity to ask you that if you enjoyed this video and find value in the content I share, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. My channel and the knowledge I share are completely free, but to keep it going and continue providing valuable content, I need your support. Your engagement helps the channel grow and reach more people, so thank you for being a part of this journey. You can also help by buying me a coffee, or buying a tutorial or a jewelry from me. You can find the links in the description. Thanks for all the help. Lead your thread to the base row. You need to make the corners, but pay attention to the corner beads from the other triangles. On this corner you have the corners of the other 2 triangles that are on your 2 sides. So you need only 1 piece of seed bead in this corner. On the next corner, the first bead is a shared bead with the other triangle, so you will need 2 pieces of seed beads. For the last corner, string 2 pieces of seed beads and share the bead with the other triangle. Lead your thread to the finished circle of corner beads. It is not always easy to go through beads that you have already gone through a few times. But since these are pretty big beads, not size 15, you don't have to worry too much about breaking them. You need to pull the middle beads of the corners into a circle. This way they will stand nicely and not move anymore. You finish the half of the ball. You need to lead your thread to a fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit from the side of the half ball to be able to start another triangle. Before starting the next triangle, you need to cut your tail. But first go through some beads because you don't want to cut your thread right after a knot. And now start another triangle. You will string 3 pieces of SuperDuo and 2 units of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit alternately. I will speed up the beading of this triangle because it's the same like the second triangle. Don't forget that you can slow it down by clicking on the cogwheel icon and selecting the speed you want. I really loved making these earrings. I've always loved making beaded beads and I've been really into shiny things for a while now. And these earrings are both shiny and it is a beaded bead. So this earring is going to be my favorite. The 5th triangle is finished. Lead your thread to a free side to start the 6th triangle. If you look at the side I show you, you can see that I have 3 triangles there. If I make the 4th triangle, I can close that circle with the seed beads. The making of this triangle is the same like the making of the 4th triangle. You have 2 sides already from the other triangles. You need to string only 1 unit of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit, but you will need 3 pieces of SuperDuo. String the missing fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit and string the SuperDuos between the units. I will not speed up the making of this triangle because I showed you only once how I make this kind of triangle. The base row is finished for this triangle. Step up in the second hole of a SuperDuo. String the seed beads between the second hole of the SuperDuos. Reinforce this row. String the bicones between the seed beads and the bicones from the base row. Now that we have time while I'm beading, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you enjoy this design? Or maybe you'd like to share what you've been creating lately? Feel free to leave a comment below. I'm always excited to see what inspires you. Lead your thread to the base row. You need to string the corner beads. To make this corner, you need only one piece of seed bead and you share beads from the other triangles. For the other two corners, string 2 pieces of seed beads and share the bead with the other triangle. Don't forget that you need to close the finished seed bead circle. Go through the middle seed beads to close the circle. You have 6 finished triangles. You will need 2 more to finish the ball. You need to lead your thread to the open side of your ball to make the 7th triangle. Sorry, I accidentally hit the camera and it lost focus, but it's only temporary. It is time to show you and speak a little bit of the round bead that I will use for the middle of the ball. You need to put a big bead in the middle to hold the beading in shape. If you bead a little looser than the ball won't be stable at this point. The bead you put in will fix this. You can put any bead that's the right size. It should be about 12 millimeters in diameter. If you don't have anything that size, take some aluminum foil or paper and make a hard ball. But you can also use air-dry clay if you can make it to the exact size. I chose the lighter colored pressed bead because I felt like the dark one would make my beads darker. Start making the penultimate triangle. You have 2 sides already, so you need only one of the fire-polished bicone fire-polished unit and 3 SuperDuos. I will speed up the making of this triangle because it's the same like the previous one. And of course you need to close the finished seed bead circle. The ball is almost finished. You need to lead your thread to the gap and step out from a fire-polished bead to finish the last triangle. You will need to string only the SuperDuo beads to finish the base row of this last triangle. String the seed beads between the second hole of the SuperDuos. Reinforce this row. String the bicones between the seed beads and the bicones from the base row. Make the corners, but be mindful, you need to string only one seed bead per corner. You will have 3 seed bead circles and you will need to close those circles. And now close the circles. If you lose the sight of the circles and don't know what circles you need to close, you need to find the circles that are not staying tight or the middle beads are still not in a circle. If you can't find these circles, it's not a big deal because the worst thing that you will have will be a few loose circles of beads, but overall it's not a noticeable mistake. This is my last circle to close. My first disco ball is finished. It is sparkly, isn't it? I will need a hanger for the chain. String 5 pieces of seed beads and go through the seed bead from the opposite side of the circle. Reinforce the hanger by going through the beads again. Make sure that the hanger is staying straight. You need to finish your thread by putting some double knots and cut it. So go through some beads, put a double knot, pull the knot inside a bead and go find another spot to make another double knot. I usually make 2 or 3 double knots before I cut the thread. But remember, never cut a thread right after a knot, so you need to pull the knot inside a bead and go through some beads before cutting the thread. This is my 3rd double knot. I really like this sparkly ball. Now I need to assemble the earring. To make the earring, I used a 6 cm long golden chain, a 5 mm diameter jump ring and an earring stud. I threaded the golden chain through the hanger of the ball. I opened the jump ring and I attached the end of the chains on the jump ring. I have put the earring into the jump ring and closed the jump ring. The earring is finished. It is not the lightest earring, but that's what makes it special. You can feel its weight with every move, like a little reminder that it's there. It doesn't pull on your ear but still adds that perfect touch of sparkle and style. And that's the end of today's video. If you watched it and liked it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for spending time with me. Wishing you a happy and prosperous new year. See you next week.